What's up? I'm Runs with Alpacas, and I have another deck profile today. This one is a retake on Legendary Fisherman, now that the Legendary Fisherman 2 has come out, and since Miss Starboy has come out, I'll get right into it. First of all, you have your lineup of Legendary Fisherman. So you play one copy of the original Legendary Fisherman, 3 copies of the Legendary Fisherman 2, and 3 copies of the Legendary Fisherman 3. You only need to play one copy of the regular Legendary Fisherman because he is the worst one. The Legendary Fisherman 2 is treated as the Legendary Fisherman on the field. So basically you have 4 Legendary Fishermans to summon your Legendary Fisherman 3. The Legendary Fisherman 2 is unaffected by monster effects as long as Umi's on the field, which I think is slightly better than the original's effect of not being affected by spells. And when the Legendary Fisherman 2 is destroyed by battle, you get to search for 3. Definitely a good 3 of to have, and the Legendary Fisherman 3 is just insane. I play 3 copies of Terraforming in the form of Warrior of Atlantis. I don't play any actual Terraforming because this card is just, it's strictly better. I play a rank 4 engine, so I play 3 copies of Tin Goldfish, 3 copies of Silent Angler, 3 copies of Escher the Frost Vassal, and just 1 elemental hero, Bubbleman. Tin Goldfish is Tin Goldfish. The only tricky thing you have to be worried about is if you have Legendary Ocean on the field. All these guys are level 3 in your hand, so you don't actually get their effects. You can extra summon Legendary Fisherman with Tin Goldfish, so that is a neat little idiosyncrasy of it. Silent Angler came out in Duelist Saga. You can special summon it from your hand if you control a water monster. It restricts you from special summoning from your hand for the rest of the turn, so it does stop you from getting Legendary Fisherman 3 out, but usually that's not too much of a problem. Escher the Frost Vassal is a card I think is kind of underrated. It got overlooked because it was kind of hurt from the old Pendulum format where you had the 2 zones. You can special summon this card from your hand if your opponent controls 2 or more cards in a spell trap zones. So what I mean is, it didn't count if your opponent had 2 cards in the pendulum zones, but now since the pendulum zones are in the spell trap zone, this guy's a lot easier to summon against like pendulum decks specifically. And lastly, just the 1 Bubbleman. You only need 1 because it needs to be the last card in your hand to summon it, and you're rarely ever going to get the draw 2 effect with this deck because you're always going to have cards on the field. I play 1 copy of Amphibious Bugroth. This card can attack directly as long as Umi's on the field. You can use the Legendary Fisherman 3's effect to do double damage, and if this guy is on the field and you have a Legendary Ocean, you can attack directly for 1700, but it'd be doubled, so you could attack directly for 3400. So that's a neat little game winner there. Play 1 copy of Mobius the Frost Monarch, just for spell trap removal. I figure if I play 3 of Escher, this is just, the bigger guy, so might as well have 1 of it. And then I play 1 copy of Citadel Whale. This card's not too crucial, I don't think. It really helps that you can get Sea Stealth Attack set directly from the deck. I find it kind of a waste, usually, to tribute 2 water monsters just to get this out. But his other effect to negate effects that target a water monster comes in handy every so often, so I do play 1 of it. That was it for monsters. For spells, you have to play 3 Legendary Ocean. This is how you get Legendary Fisherman on the board for free. And I play 3 Salvage to go with my rank 4 engine. Another reason why I think Escher is so good is, say you have 2 Eschers in your hand and your opponent does control 2 spell trap cards. You can special summon both your Eschers and go into like some sort of rank 4 or to a Miss Starboy, and say your opponent outs that immediately, solemns it, or whatever. If you have Salvage in hand, you can just get these 2 guys back because they're only 800 attack and just go right back into the same play you did. So that's another reason why I think Escher is just a really good card. I play 1 Reasoning. This is just to see if I can get the Legendary Fisherman out easier. If I have Legendary Fisherman 3 in hand, and I don't expect my opponent to call level 5, usually opponents call level 4. So Reasoning's just hopefully a way to get that out. I doubt they would call 7, so you can also get Citadel Whale out with this card. And when you special summon Citadel Whale with Reasoning, you do also get the effect to set Sea Stealth Attack. So Reasoning's pretty decent in this deck. I play 3 copies of MST, 1 Dark Hole, and 3 Quaking Mirror Forces. I like 3 Quaking because if your opponent's monsters are face down, you can do the play with Amphibious Bugroth, hopefully, and just attack directly. And then I do play 3 copies of Sea Stealth Attack. The biggest problem with this deck before this card came out was that when your Legendary Oceans were done, you had no way of getting them back. So with this card, you can activate it and get your Legendary Ocean directly from your graveyard. So that's really nice. And this also serves as a way to protect your spells and traps. So it'll protect your Legendary Ocean. So all you have to do for that is banish 1 water monster you control until the end phase, and your spells and traps can't be. And then also there's a secondary effect that if you control a monster that was originally a level 5 and it's a water monster, when it does battle with your opponent's monster is just immediately destroyed, so there's no damage calculation at all. So that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards. The only other option I really had was to play Moray of Greed. Definitely might play around with putting that in there, but for this build I didn't do that. For the extra deck, I play 3 Mistar Boy. This card's really easy to get out with all those level 4s I play, and it makes the Bahamut Shark Totally Awesome play viable again. I'm really happy they reprinted Totally Awesome. It's only like a couple bucks now. Play 1 Abyss Dweller because it's Abyss Dweller. 1 Grand Pulse for spell trap removal. 1 Nightmare Shark, same thing as Amphibious Bugroth. This card's really good with Legendary Fisherman 3 on the field. It's even better because you can target Legendary Fisherman itself, and you can attack directly for 5,000. Another card I like a lot is Full Armored Black Ray Lancer. It takes 3 level 4 water monsters, but you usually never summon it that way. You can also summon it by overlaying a rank 3 Xyz monster that has no materials. It gains 200 attack for each material it has, and instead of being destroyed, you can remove all of its materials instead, so that's pretty good. And when it does destroy an opponent's monster by battle, you can pop a spell or trap card on their side of the field. So I like this card a lot. If the Toad play is dead, you can get out a rank 3 and then go into this off of Bahamut Shark. So it's pretty useful. The rest of the extra deck I don't really care about, but I had to fill it out, so play a couple more rank 3s to get Black Ray Lancer out. 1 Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark. If I don't go into Bahamut Shark, I go into this one. It can reduce the attack of an opponent's monster by 1,000 during the damage step, so that's pretty good. And when it's destroyed, you can special summon a water monster back from the graveyard. So say your opponent does out your Legendary Fisherman 3, you can get it back with this. So it has its uses. And I play 1 Crystal Zero and 1 full armored version of it. Never go into those, but they're just there to fill out space. So that's the whole deck profile. Legendary Fisherman is definitely one of my favorite decks to play. I love the nostalgia of it, and Legendary Fisherman 3 is just such a good card. It's really fun to get that card off. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try the deck out for yourself or your own variants of it, and I'll see you next time.